What's that you're reading? A novel? A novel? Well, darn my skin. You, a man grown and bearded and hissing such stuff as that in. This stuff about gals and their sweethearts. No wonder you're thin as a knife. Look at me, Claire 200, and I never read one in my life. And that's my opinion of novels. Well, as to the lying round here, they belong to the judge's daughter. The judge that came up last year on account of his lungs and the mountains and the balsam of pine and fir. Yeah, and his daughter, she read novels. And that's what's the matter with her. But she was sweet on the judge. Stuck by him day and night alone in the cabin up there. Till she grew like a ghost, all white. She was only a slip of a thing, as light and as up and away as rifle smoke blown through the woods. But she weren't my kind, no way. Speaking of gals, you mind that house as you rise the hill? Mile and a half from White's and just above Mattingly's Mill? You do? Well, now, there's a gal. What, you saw her? Oh, come now, there, quit. She was only bedeviling you boys, 'cause to me she don't cotton one bit. But she's what I call a gal. Ooh-wee! Purty and plump as a quail, teeth as white as a hound's, and they'd go through a tenpenny nail. Eyes that can snap like a cap. So she asked to know where I was hid. She did. Well, that's just like her sass, 'cause she's pert as a katydid. But what was I talking of? Oh, the judge and his daughter. Now, she read novels the whole day long, and I reckon she read them abed. And sometimes she read them out loud to the judge on the porch where he sat, and 'twas how Lord Augustus said this, and how Lady Blanche, she said that. Ha! But the sickest of all that I heard was a yarn about a chap, Leatherstocking by name, oh, and a hunter, chock full of the greenest of sap. And one time they asked me to hear, but I says, Miss Mabel, not any for me. When I likes, I can sling my own lies, and that chap and I mightn't agree. And yet, that gal allus said that I brought her to mind of folks about whom she read. You're something but like of that kind. Oh, and there weren't no end to the names she gave me that summer up here. Robin Hood, Leatherstocking, Rob Roy, oh, I tell you, the critter was queer. And yet, if she hadn't have been spoiled, she was harmless enough in her way. She could jabber in French to her dad, and they said she knew how to play. And she worked me that shot pouch up there that the man doesn't live as can use. And slippers. Well, you see him down here, as would cradle an Injun's papoose. But along of them novels, you see, she was a wasting and a moping away, and then she got shy with her tongue. And at last, she had nothing to say. And whenever I happened around her face, it was hid by a book. And it tweren't till the day they left that she gave me as much as a look. And this is the way it was. It was night when I came up here to say to 'em all goodbye, for I reckoned to go for deer at sunup the day they left. So I shook 'em all round by the hand, except Miss Mabel, and she was sick, as they gave me to understand. Then, just as I passed the house next morning at dawn, someone, like a little wave of mist, got up on the hill with the sun. Miss Mabel it was, alone, all dressed in a mantle of lace. And she stood there straight in the road, with a touch of the sun on her face. And she looked me right in the eye. Well, I'd seen something like it afore when I hunted a wounded doe to the edge of the Clear Lake shore. And I had my knee on its neck, and I just was raising my knife when it gave me a look like that, and, well, got off with its life. "We are going today," she said. And I thought I would say goodbye to you in your own house, Luke, these woods in the bright blue sky. You've always been kind to us, Luke, and Papa has found you still as good as the air he breathes and wholesome as Laurel Tree Hill. And you'll sometimes think of me, Luke, as you know you once used to say, a rifle smoke blown through the woods, a moment, but never to stay. And then we shook hands. She turned, but a sudden she tottered and fell. And I grabbed her sharp by the waist and I held her a minute. Well, it was only a minute, you know, that as cold and as white she lay as a snowflake here on my breast. And then she melted away and was gone. And there are her books. But I sees not any for me. Good enough maybe for some, but them and I shouldn't agree. They spiled a decent gal as might have made some chap a wife. And look at me, Claire 200, and I never read one in my life.